Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, March 8th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. Today, we're going to do a quick show. We're just going to reiterate and hammer the points of what's going on in our once great nation that is now a shell of what it used to be. And we are going to be brought to you today by the Presidential Combo. That's right. McDonald's is now offering the McFetus sandwich with a large fry and a Diet Coke for $999.99. To honor our great president, who is a cannibal of children, the McFetus sandwich brought to you by McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. That being said, let's get into the show. America is not a country. It's a business. It's a business of human trafficking, child sex trafficking, corruption, blackmail, extortion. It is not a government. It is a mafia, a mob funded by foreign nations, foreign intelligence agencies. Let's see, we are also funded by super PACs, APAC, corporations, lobbyists, and anybody basically with a dollar, cartels. I mean, we have so much money flowing into our country from, what's the word I'm looking for? From illegal sources, for lack of a better word, illegal sources. California is completely owned and operated by the Sinaloa cartel. Washington, D.C. is completely owned and operated by our greatest ally. We have all kinds of nations funding different states in our country. Different states are funded by different organizations. So I came across an interesting fact last night. Don't remember where I picked this up. It was a podcaster. The top 1% of Americans, 1% of Americans are hoarding, and I use that word because it's accurate, hoarding $55.8 trillion, more than the GDP of the United States and China combined. Let that sink in for a minute. The top 1% of our nation, the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Larry Ellisons, a handful of people, literally a handful, out of 340 million Americans living here. 340 million. 1%. Let's see what is, let's get the exact numbers. We like to be accurate. I don't want to fabricate and lie. So what's 1% of 340 million? That is 3.4 million people. Yeah, 3.4 million people. So 3.4 million people in our country hold $55.8 trillion, more than the GDP of U.S. and China combined. That's staggering. That is absolutely staggering. So how did we get here? How do they do this? Distracted, divided, and addicted. They want you addicted to this social media, this technology, the Candy Crush, all these silly little games, and I see them all the time when I'm watching YouTube. The ads are always for this technology, for games, or it's for all of these pills, which I think what I'm going to do is sit down one day and spend some time going through all of the ads for medications they are pumping into people's minds. And I say this all the time, psychological warfare, repetition is the greatest weapon to infiltrate someone's mind. If you go around someone all day long and you say, let's just say chicken. Hey, you want some chicken? You want some fried chicken? You want some baked chicken? You want some chicken, rice, and beans? You want some chicken? How long would it be before someone says, you know what, chicken does sound good. Even if they told you, I'm sick of hearing about chicken, I don't want to hear about it anymore. And you were quiet for a while. Guess what? The seed is planted. You're going to eat chicken within a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And that is their modus operandi. That is their tactics. Repetition, 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 repetition. How many times have you heard Trump talk about the election being stolen in 2020? How many times have we heard left-wing lunatics, Democratic hoax? How many times? Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's psychological warfare. That's all it is. And Marjorie Taylor Greene said this, and I've said it on a couple of my shows, that we're not going to vote our way out of this. And we're not. And I'll tell you why. Because it's not the politicians who are running the country. See, that's what they want us to think. They want us to think it's the House and the Senate and it's the President, it's the Cabinet. It's the intelligence agencies who are running the country. It's the CIA. It's the NSA. Those two right there. There's agencies we don't even know about who are running the country. That's who's calling the shots. That's who's staging all of this. And they're working with KGB. They're working with Mossad. They're working with MI6. They're working with global intelligence. And that's what this is. A global intelligence community are collectively working together to push all of these wars, all of this terrorism, all of this just crimes against humanity. And how this works is the government is it's like an onion, so many layers. You have local law enforcement who are corrupt. We've seen it. I've seen it. You've seen it. Now, I'm not saying they're all corrupt. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when push comes to shove, and they have the option of upholding truth and justice, or exposing a politician or a fellow law enforcement officer or a higher up of crimes, they're not gonna expose the crimes. They're not gonna go for truth and justice. They're gonna dismiss it, cover it up, whether it's local, whether it's state, whether it's federal. That's why the judge who kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and murdered my son, State Judge Kelly Hansen, that's why nothing's been done for 16 years, because he's a state judge. And they protect their own. Law enforcement, the blue wall, we've all heard of the blue wall, the code of silence. You know, cops don't tell on cops. Cops don't turn each other in. We can't have that. That goes all the way through mayors, city council, public defenders, prosecuting attorneys, governors, all of this. They all look out for each other. And that's why it's an onion with layers and layers and layers of corruption. And this goes all the way up to the highest levels of government, which, to be honest with you, is going to be the CIA. It's not the president who holds the power. It's the CIA who holds the power. They have all the blackmail stuff. They have all the videos. They have all the photos. They have all the evidence. And not to mention the foreign nations who are funding our intelligence agencies. I mean, the Pentagon lost half their budget. Let me see what their budget is. It's staggering. It's billions of dollars. I think it was like $60 billion. Pentagon budget. It's $858 billion. And let's see how much is not accounted for. The Pentagon failed its 7th consecutive annual audit, unable to account for its $824 billion budget, with $1.9 trillion of its $3.8 trillion in assets unaccounted for. So basically $2 trillion out of $3.8 trillion they can't account for. $1 trillion. You think that's all taxpayer money? You think so? You don't think that's coming from our greatest ally, Russia, China, Ukraine? You don't think they're extorting cartels out of money, seizing their money, their assets? You don't? I mean, you'd have to be pretty naive to think that all of this money America is making when our richest people aren't paying taxes. I mean, they admit it. They got loopholes. They don't pay taxes. So if you're only taxing the middle and lower class Americans, who are basically, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at AIPAC and how much money they pay politicians, I think Lindsey Graham by himself took $6 million in AIPAC money. I will double check that. We're going to look it up. Lindsey Graham AIPAC tracker. Track AIPAC. This is a good app to have. Track AIPAC, especially if you're going to vote. Oh goodness, there's so many people on there. We're going to have to search you. Well, it's not. Oh, they took Lindsey Graham off the Track AIPAC because he took so much money. Now they're deleting the AIPAC figures. I mean, we can go through, look at all these people. These are all AIPACs. AIPAC funded public servants. And AIPAC is our greatest ally, paying people. And let's just look at a number. Bruce Westerman, never heard of him. $179,000. Oh, Alex Padilla. $856,000. Adam Schiff, $9.5 million. $10 million. And you think they're worried about our little tax dollars? You think they're worried that our money has an impact on their decision making? Yeah, I don't think so. So politicians are just puppets for anybody who has money or influence. And that's the truth of it. And the intelligence agencies are who's running the government. So we can look at the collective. Let's look at this onion. I wrote this onion down. I broke it down. It starts at the local level with city officials, city council members, mayors, and it goes to the state level, state judges, state prosecutors, state law enforcement, and then it goes up to the federal level. This is the FBI and Homeland Security, Border Patrol, all of these agencies, and we know Border Patrol is implicated by the cartel. We know the cartel owns the Border Patrol at our southern border, and they pick and choose what shipments of fentanyl they want to come in and murder Americans with. They do it for money. They don't care. Then you go from federal, you go to the intelligence agencies. Now here is the masterminds of the operation. This is where all your psyops come from. This is where all the media is owned and operated. The CIA, the NSA, DEA, ATF, all of these work together for the common agenda of power and control through manipulation. That's the modus operandi. Power and control through manipulation. So, all of the government is funded by super PACs, AIPAC, corporate America, foreign nations, and lobbyists. We know this. And to be honest with you, the United States government, it's not a government. It's a business. It's a well-funded reality show with bad actors and a horrible script. That's the truth of the matter. The United States government is a reality show with bad actors and a horrible script. And when an actor can't pull their part, can't run their lines and repeat the talking points, they get dismissed and replaced with a better actor. I mean, do you think Mike Johnson or Mark Wayne Mullins or Kristi Noem, do you think these people are qualified intellectually, morally to do their jobs? Lauren Boebert was asked on a television show the other day I think it was Piers Morgan, actually. You can look this interview up. Piers Morgan asked Lauren Boebert to define inflation. She was a stumbling, bumbling, mumbling fool. I'm talking, she couldn't define inflation. One word, define inflation. And it's the rising cost of goods beyond the economic standards of the country where people can't afford goods anymore. That's inflation. The rising cost of goods beyond the economic barriers or standards or baseline of the nation. She couldn't define it. She went on some, I don't even know what she was saying. She was mumbling and stumbling. They had another lady on there, and I don't know this lady's name. She's not a politician. She's a political analyst. And they asked her to define woke. What is woke? And she even said this is going to go viral because she couldn't answer the question. She didn't know what it was. And it's just a psyop. Woke is a psyop. LGBTQT is a psyop to divide us, distract us, to control us. All of these medications, psyops, they want you dumb, fat, and stupid. And that's, to put it in the most simplest of terms, our government, and it's not a government, it's a business of bad actors with a horrible script, using the media as their propaganda pushers. They want a country of dumb, fat, addicted people that don't even question while they rob us, rape our kids, sell our kids, and enslave us mentally. They want us just to go to work, get some beer, get some alcohol, pop some pills, go home and sleep. Go to work and repeat. So I said I was going to make this short. I'll probably do another video later today. I wanted to look up Titus. I was listening to John MacArthur last night, and there were some good verses in Titus he was quoting. And Titus isn't a very big book, I know that. And see if we can find it here. And I read my Bible every day, every night. I advise everyone to. And to be honest with you, I make these videos. I advocate against child sex trafficking, crimes against humanity committed by my government. And to be honest with you, we should just accept that this is all written in the Bible. People are going to be mean, evil, selfish, greedy, sick, after their own lust. And I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think, it don't matter how we vote. I don't think it's going to get any better. I think this is all biblical. The war is going on right now. Everything is in the Bible. And I believe it's going to get worse. We're beginning the days of the 7 years of tribulation. And the last 3.5 are really going to be horrible. I'm still looking for Titus. And I think I'm in the first 5 books of the Bible. Yep. So that's Deuteronomy. So Titus is in the back. I know Revelation's the last book. Don't make me have to go to the index. Here's the index. This is on prophecies. Revelation, Jude, John, Peter. And like I said, Titus is a very small book, so might be hard to find. There it is, Titus. And this is the Epistle Paul to Titus. This is Paul's writing. So I think it was Titus 2:1. I believe. Okay, let's start, and this is going to be a long one because it's got a lot of information. So let's begin with Titus 2:1. But for you, speak the things which are fitting for sound doctrine. Sound doctrine. I mean, everyone pretty much knows that's basically your morals, your ethics, your values, your integrity. Those are sound doctrine. Lies, deceit, manipulation, that's not sound. That's evil. Older men are to be temperate, dignified, sensible, sound in faith, in love, in perseverance. Older women likewise are to be reverent in their behavior, not malicious gossips, nor enslaved to much wine. How many women do you know that are enslaved to much wine and that gossip? You're not supposed to maliciously gossip about people. Teaching what is good so that they may encourage the young women to love their husbands. You see, every generation, whether knowingly or unknowingly, we set the example for the future generations to come. I seen my dad when I was a kid work hard, work on cars. Um, he was religious. He did read his Bible. He didn't practice it. I'll be honest with you. He was a Marine, so he drank. He had a temper. He did things. That's military guys. Most military guys are drinkers. I mean, I don't know if the military like just gives you free beer while you're in there or what the deal is, but I live near Air Force Base in Abilene, Texas, and a lot of my neighbors were in the Air Force, and every weekend they would all be drinking just so much beer. And I remember looking like, why does everyone in the military drink? It's very common practice. I mean, look at Pete Hegseth. He's a drinker. He's the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, but we're not at war, so there is no Department of War because we're not at war. But they don't even know if we're at war. They say we're at war until you ask them if we're at war, then they say we're not at war. See, they lie to cover up their lies, and then when you catch them in their lie, they lie some more. It's the most abundant batch of lies I've ever seen. They lie to cover up their lies. It's unbelievable. But I digress. Let's read on. So that they may love their children, be sensible, pure, workers at home, kind, being subject to their own husbands. See, this is traditional American. This is back when a man could go to work and support his family, and his wife could stay home and take care of the kids and do what she wanted to do, her hobbies, her pastimes, because there was a time in America when the greatest job and the most important job was being a mother to your children and being the axis of your household. See, women used to be the linchpin of the entire house. Women used to determine how the children came out, and they would determine how the household was ran. Even though the husband went to work and made the money, that's not what determined how the household was ran. The women would run the household. That's how it used to be, by their actions, by their behaviors, by their attitudes, by their habits. Now women despise that. They don't want to run households. They don't want to determine how children are growing up and their futures. They had no interest in making a man happy. And most men that I know, to be honest with you, they just want a good woman to take care of, to love, support. Most men really do just want love. Most women just want sex. It's a sad state of affairs, and that's a big demise of our country. Because when the family goes, the society goes. If you don't have a family structure, a family unit, you don't have a society. That's the truth of the matter. So, subject to their own husbands, so that the word of God will not be dishonored. Likewise, urge the young men to be sensible. In all things, show yourself to be an example of good deeds. Show yourself to be an example of good deeds with purity and doctrine, dignified, sound in speech, which is beyond reproach, which means don't be telling lies. That's beyond reproach. Speech beyond reproach means, like Candace Owens, you cannot talk her out of her position because she stands on truth. A lot of these people, Baron Coleman, stand on truth. And that's why you can attack them, you can berate them, you can demean them, you can insult them. It doesn't matter. Don't matter. When you stand on truth, you're unwavering. That's the house built on stone, not sand. That is the house built on stone, that truth. So that the opponent will be put to shame, having nothing bad to say about us. What are you going to say about someone who stands on the truth? You can attack their character, you can insult them, you can body shame them, you can say whatever you want, but when someone stands on the truth, they're unwavering. And that's it. And you see who's wavering. I just went through this with we're at war, we're not at war, it's an operation, it's a military strike, it's everything. That they waver on everything. The Epstein files. There are no files. The list is on my desk. There was no list. He didn't traffic to anyone. He trafficked to everyone. The wavering. That's how you know when someone's lying. because the truth doesn't change. It never changes. The truth is the truth, and the truth is reality. And that's it. I mean, right now it's sunny outside. I can have 1 million people tell me it's raining, it's pouring. That doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that it's sunny outside. No matter what anyone says, the truth is the truth. So, urge bond slaves to be subject to their own masters in everything, to be well-pleasing, not argumentative, not pilfering, but showing all good faith that they will adorn the doctrine of God, our Savior, in every respect. Now, here's the deal. I've learned this the hard way, and I can't believe I just said that. My boss says that all the time. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. We make fun of him for saying that, and now I'm saying it. So, here's the deal. You're going to be a slave to someone. You're going to serve a master. I don't care who you are, what walk of life you're from, how much money you have, you are going to serve a master. Me personally, my master is Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. That's who I'm a slave to. I'm a slave to His Word, His commandments, His rules. I do my best to live by the rules set forth in this Bible. I don't steal. I try not to lie. I don't lie, really, to be honest with you, that I can think of. I'm sure, I would think everybody lies. I know I used to really bad. I used to be a bad liar. I don't cheat. I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking to get ahead. I don't seek fame or glory or none of that. I stand for what's right, and I honor the words of God. I don't get jealous of other people. I don't covet what they have. I don't do any of that. I don't commit adultery. I don't do fornication. I do my best, which we're all sinners. I'm a sinner. I do my best to live by the rules of this Bible. That's my master. That's who I'm a slave to, Jesus Christ. There was a time when I was a slave to drugs, to alcohol, to lies, to deception, to money, to pride. I used to be very prideful, very, very prideful. Used to have a big ego. I don't have an ego anymore at all, and I'm grateful for that. It makes life difficult when you're around a bunch of egos and you don't have an ego. It gets you bullied and picked on quite a bit because your humility, they view as a sign of weakness. They view kindness as weakness, and humility is the ultimate form of kindness. And it says in the Bible, you have to have humility to serve Christ. You got to understand that God is God, Jesus is Jesus, and you are not them. I serve them to the best of my ability, and we see who our public servants are serving. We see who their master is. Their God looks up at them. My God looks down at me. We are not the same. So once again, before I get off here, I want to pay respects to my Commander-in-Chief, and I want to give thanks for the sponsorship. Everyone rush out to McDonald's. Try your new presidential combo, the McFetus sandwich with a large fry and a Diet Coke. That's going to be $999.99 to honor our great Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. So try your new McFetus sandwich now. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention. Please like, share, and subscribe to these channels, these videos. I do send these links across the country every single day. It is day 1641 since the kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder of my son by State Judge Kelly Hansen, who has thousands of victims of children over his 16-year career. He is kidnapped, raped, tortured, murdered, and sold. So thank you, everyone. I will do a video probably later this afternoon. Enjoy your Sunday. Try to do something good for yourself. Read a paragraph of a good book. Read a Bible verse. Take a walk in the park. Just breathe. You got to take a break from the doom and the gloom. It's really overwhelming our nation right now in the world. So everyone have a good day, and I'll see you later.